This is Inside Badger Football with head coach Trey Shucker. Inside Badger Football is brought to you by the Arkadelphia Alliance and Chamber of Commerce, ATO Automotive, Batson Signs, Bell Wealth Services, Blakelytown, Chad Kesterson Shelter Insurance, Chicken Express, Citizens Bank, Domino's, Eccles, Thompson and Kneebone CPA, Doctors Gary and Rob Rucker, Knight Insurance Professionals, L&J Auto Sales, Ludwig's Bakery, Park Hill Baptist Church, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Print Mania, Providence Veterinary Care, Roger Wingfield State Farm, Scott Bird DDS, The Sexton Firm, South Central Connect, Southern Bancorp, Southwest Auto Collection, Taylor King Law, Tea Time Sims, Trinity Temple Assembly of God, Turner, Rogers, Manning and Plyler CPA, Twin Rivers Health and Rehabilitation, and Welch Funeral Home. The host of Inside Badger Football is Cooper Darr.
Hello and welcome back to Inside Badger Football. I'm Cooper Darr, and joined with me as always, head coach Trey Shucker. How are you today, Coach?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm great, Coach. I appreciate it. Just got out of class, and now I get the opportunity to talk about some Badger football, which is a good day right there. But, Coach, let's talk about this last week. It was a great day to be a Badger fan and also together as, you know, the Arkadelphia Badgers football team.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this win this past week at home, Ashdown. Coach, you battled through the elements. It was raining just a little bit. But, Coach, talk about the game for just a second.
Yeah, for one, it felt great to get back in Badger Stadium and have a game. And, you know, our players were really excited about that. And I thought they played with that excitement and energy and ended up following through with their execution. I thought it was a really good game in all three phases. You know, it wasn't perfect by any means, but thought there was a lot of execution, a lot of big plays being made in all the phases. So it was really good game, fun environment, and big win. So
I completely agree. It was a big win, but also big-time plays being made, just like you said. Caden Whitaker, 3 touchdowns there in the first half, and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Caden had an explosive night running back for us. Had 3 touchdowns on the ground, was able to open the starting drive with a touchdown on the ground, and then I believe it was the next couple drives after that. It was a couple drives later that he was able to pick up 2 more pretty strong runs. I know we'll see it in the highlights, but you know, we toss it to him. He gets around the edge and he outruns the team, and then stiff arms a player at the very end. And then you know, the third one that he ran in was another one where he's having to run through defenders, and you know, they kind of fall off of him and go as he's going into the end zone. But just a strong run by Caden Whitaker, and you know, all 3 of his rushing touchdowns, honestly.
All right, Coach. Well, let's go ahead. Let's watch these highlights real quick, and let's talk about all of those touchdowns, but also your defense, Coach. Your defense this game came out firing. They were smart. Your defensive line was there all game. Let's talk about your defense first.
Yeah, you know, we've got a very strong defensive line, a very good pass rush defensive line, and we knew that going into the game that would be a big factor for us from the defensive standpoint, and it showed to be true Friday night. Our defensive line was very disruptive and in the backfield a lot, was able to keep their quarterback off rhythm and out of sync.
All right, Coach, Caden Whitaker, let's talk about him. You're running back. I'm sure we'll see a play here pretty soon. If not, probably this one. Caden Whitaker,
this
first
is the
touchdown.
third play of the game. You know, so being able to score and drive the whole field in 3 plays, very explosive to start the game, and it really just sets the tone for the rest of the game. And it just shows what you can do when you open the game up being explosive. It doesn't matter if you're on offense or defense. You come out making plays, it just sets the tone for the rest of the game for the whole team.
Coach, your defense just had a big TFL right there, causing a 3-and-out. We had several of those this past week.
Yeah.
Your defensive line, your linebackers shooting the gaps, working with their hands, getting in the backfield. But also what I love to see is how many guys get to the football. I love to see just
defensive pursuit is important
until the whistle blows.
Yeah, defensive pursuit is important. And what you just saw in there was Seth Molinari kicking a field goal. You know, we got to 4th down in the red zone area, and so we felt good about Seth going out and getting some points on the board for us. We knew that, you know, we just want to execute the situations at hand. Situation called for a field goal, so we put him out there, and he went and got points on board for us.
All right, Coach, let's talk about this play right here. Had all your guys covered, rushing into the quarterback. I mean, what, as a defensive back, whenever you start to read that and then it's a pass, what do you do there?
Yeah, defensive back, you still got to find receivers. They're getting out of the pocket. We teach our guys to do not leave the receiver. If he crosses the line of scrimmage, then we can go rally.
Let's go ahead and watch this replay real quick. Orion catches this over on the left.
All right, Coach, let's talk about this play right here. Obviously, this is a huge play. Let's talk about explosives on offense. Why are explosives so important in a game like this, but also just for Arkadelphia?
Yeah, so just for one, obviously an explosive play for us is anything over 20 yards, but it gets you down the field fast, right? Explosive plays are how you move the football and flip the field and put yourself in position to score, as well as explosive plays create touchdowns. And along with that, it creates momentum. It demoralizes the other team. It energizes our guys. When they're out there making big plays and rounding off big numbers and big yards and big tackles and sacks and things like that, it really gets the whole team energized.
All right, Coach, here's a fumble right here, taken back, and I'm trying to see which number this is.
That was Amari Ford.
Amari Ford. Talk about Amari, but also we said explosives on offense. Yeah. Talk about how just as important it is to get turnovers on defense.
Yeah, you see it right here. We do a good job of coaching turnovers and how to create turnovers. Right there, we just talked about the pursuit. We want to be a defense that gets to the ball. We get a player that punches the ball out, the ball's loose, and then Amari's there. He's had great pursuit, and he's in position to get the ball picked up and then go try to score.
All right, Coach, this play right here, what I loved, yes, it is a touchdown, but you got Grant Rollins, you got Orion Roberts. They are blocking with everything they got because they're all working for one goal here. It's not selfish football. Talk about that.
Yeah, and on that play, it's everybody. We're cracking down on the defense, and then we've got Grant Rollins pulling around for the edge, and we're getting the ball in space to Caden Whitaker, and we do a great job of the execution of the blocks. We maintain them. Whitaker gets to his full speed, and the rest is history on that. He was able to get a big stiff arm at the end of the play.
Coach, the pressure that this quarterback received this past week, it always felt like he was scrambling, always felt like, he got out of the box some, but at the same time, QB hurries were also a big part of this game. Talk about how important it is to get that quarterback's timing off.
That's the main thing. Yes, we're trying to create sacks, but if you can keep a quarterback out of rhythm, that's when quarterbacks aren't as accurate. That's what we're trying to do. Here's the other strong run by Caden Whitaker. Again, same play as what he scored on before. Gets around the edge. Grant Rollins has another big block on the perimeter. Our receivers are doing a great job of maintaining their blocks, and we get down the field. Caden does a really good job making a couple moves on some defenders and breaks the tackles at the end of it. I think this was probably the lowest light of the game. We did give up a kickoff return for a touchdown. Ashdown historically, they're going to have very good players that you kick it right to them and they get to their top speed. They can do that. But here's what I liked. I like this right here where our defense has to go out there and defend the PAT, and we want to create a mentality, and we want to have a mentality that we don't want to give them free points just because they scored. We don't want to just say, oh, well, they get the free PAT. No, it's not free, and we're going to try to keep them from it, and we did that.
And then come right back for a kickoff return on them.
That's right, and Orion Roberts, we've seen him do this a couple times this year, just an explosive returner, and again, they kicked it right to him, and so he was able to get to top speed, was able to crease his lane. We did a good job of keeping it blocked, and he was able to get in open space. There was another situation where we got the ball out, and the ball's just kind of fumbling around. Ended up being a scrum for the ball, but ends up going out of bounds. We didn't get it.
All right, Coach, a run up the middle right here. Can't quite see who this is, but
It's Mario Brownlee running.
all right,
the ball.
Mario Brownlee. He's
Yep.
running up the middle. Offensive line, I feel like, had a great game. Protecting McCoy.
Yep.
Also, just creating lanes to run through, moving defensive linemen, which is very hard to do. Talk about your offensive line, Coach.
Yeah, our offensive line has done a great job. We knew going into this season that we were big up front and strong, and and we're really playing like that right now. We're moving people off the line of scrimmage. We're maintaining in the pass game. I feel like we're really dominating the line of scrimmage right now. That's something that we got to continue to do this week, next week, and going into the playoffs.
All right, Coach. Another close. It was close to being a touchdown here.
Yeah.
Just getting closer and closer. But also, as we're here in the third quarter now on the film, talk about just how important it was getting the young guys, maybe even the guys that don't get to play as much as some of these other guys. They really got some reps this past Friday.
Yeah, so this play right here, this is Jason Moss at receiver. It's his first touchdown as a Badger. He's a junior wide receiver for us. It's his first year with us, and he was able to be with us during the second half of the summer. He's been learning the plays and trying to get confidence with our offense, and just gaining confidence with just being on the team and making friends and all of that. He's been able to progress so well through the JV games, and then the end of games we're able to get him in, and I was so happy for him to be able to get his first touchdown.
Coach, Cam Archer's speed is literally like no other speed I've ever seen. I mean, is that something he's just been training for, or is that all genetics right there?
I think Cam Archer has been like that ever since I've known him as a seventh grader. He's one of those guys that he's like a jitterbug. You can't sit still. He's just got so much energy built up, and you see it come out when he gets a return. Right there was a punt return. He's been another one that we've seen have some punt returns and kick returns for touchdowns, and he was able to get another one Friday.
Also fun to see another touchdown by another
Caden Richards.
Yeah.
Caden Richards has done a really good job this year also. He's a good player for us, junior. And I was so excited for him also to be able to get a touchdown Friday night. It's been a while since he's been able to score.
That's awesome. All right, Coach, let's go to our players of the game. Let's go ahead and look at them right here. The Offensive Player of the Week, Caden Whitaker. We've been talking about him. Let's talk about him some more.
Yeah, junior running back Caden Whitaker had 3 touchdowns on the night, 80-something yards rushing. But just was so explosive in the run game, very strong runner. He's a guy that I know we've talked about before, but it just feels like he's becoming stronger and stronger of a runner every week.
All right, Defensive Player of the Week, it is, as soon as we see it, Anthony Hill. All right, Coach, let's talk about
Anthony
him.
Hill, sophomore defensive lineman. Had 4 sacks on the night, had 10 tackles. I want to say he had 4 or 5 tackles for a loss. Just really dynamic. He plays defensive tackle for us. Really dynamic defensive lineman for us. Just was able to put pressure on the quarterback, maintain his rush lanes, was able to come up with some big sacks in the game, and then some tackles for loss also. And so just a big player and impact for us from the defense perspective. And it was really cool to see a sophomore step in and get the Defensive Player of the Week and earn the Defensive Player of the Week award this week.
Always good to see a young guy, but also a lineman get an award like that.
And we've had some really good defensive linemen come through, and Anthony's taken on that culture as well, and so glad to see him growing up as the season's progressed and seeing where he's at today. He's done a great job.
All right, Coach, let's talk about the Special Teams Player of the Week, Cam Archer.
Yep, Cam Archer. He had that really good punt return for a touchdown. He's also had some other returns that were really crucial in the game also.
All right, Coach, the Badger Spirit Award winner for this week. Let's talk about her.
Yeah, our Badger Spirit Award winner this week is our head principal of the high school, Callie Hunley. The Badger Spirit Award is it's about people that help us out and support us and go above and beyond for not only us and our program, but for our school district and our players and our kids and our students. And Miss Hunley does that. Miss Hunley represents that so well, and we just want to be able to say thank you to her and all that she does for us and all the support that she gives us. And she always makes sure that we have everything we need.
All right, let's move to the results from this past week in the 4A7. Arkadelphia 65, Ashdown 6. Bauxite 48, Genoa Central 0, Nashville 35, Haskell Harmony Grove 10, Fountain Lake 28, Malvern 23. Some big games right there. Let's look at the 4A7 standings as of right now. Nashville sitting up there 5-0. Arkadelphia right there with them 5-1 or 4-1. My goodness, I think I need some glasses after this, Coach. Bauxite, Malvern, Fountain Lake sitting right there. As we do get closer to that postseason, where that line is, that will be the cutoff of who gets into the postseason. But we'll talk about that more next week. But Coach, let's talk about this week in the 4A7. It's Halloween night, and that means it's football time. There's no trick-or-treating. This is where everything is going to be on Friday night. Bauxite will be at Ashdown this week. Fountain Lake will be at Haskell Harmony Grove. Nashville will be at Malvern, and Arkadelphia will travel to Genoa Central. Coach, let's talk about that last game right there. Let's talk about Genoa Central for just a little bit. We're traveling there. It's another conference game. Tell us how the Badgers plan to take another win.
Yeah, the whole message is, and it's been this way for a while, but it doesn't matter who our opponent is or what our opponent's record is or what they've done in the past. We want to make sure we feel like we get everybody's best shot every single week. It's their senior night this week, so we know that on senior night, no senior wants to play their senior night and lose. And so we know that we're going to get their best shot. They're going to be high energy and they're going to be fired up, ready to play. And, my message to our team, and like I said, this is something that's been for a while, but, we know that we're going to get our opponent's best shot, whatever that looks like. And so we need to make sure that we are giving them our best shot. We need to make sure that we are the best Badger football team that we have been all year this week. Doesn't matter our opponent, doesn't matter records, none of that matters. Be the best team that we've been all year this week. And that's just how we want to progress, and that's how we want to keep going.
Well, if you cannot make it to Genoa Central next week, this Friday, October 31st, then we invite you to watch online, ArkadelphiaBadgerTV.com. The pregame show will start at 6:30, where you get to hear the voice of the Badgers, Jeff Root, Chris Babb, and also I get to talk as well. And we'll have an interview with you as well in the pregame show. But if you can't make it, watch online. But the Badger fans always travel well. So we'll see you in Genoa Central this Friday, and go Badgers.
Inside Badger Football is brought to you by the Arkadelphia Alliance and Chamber of Commerce, ATO Automotive, Batson Signs, Bell Wealth Services, Blakelytown, Chad Kesterson Shelter Insurance, Chicken Express, Citizens Bank, Domino's, Eccles, Thompson and Kneebone CPA, Doctors Gary and Rob Rucker, Knight Insurance Professionals, L&J Auto Sales, Ludwig's Bakery, Park Hill Baptist Church, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Print Mania, Providence Veterinary Care, Roger Wingfield State Farm, Scott Bird DDS, The Sexton Firm, South Central Connect, Southern Bancorp, Southwest Auto Collection, Taylor King Law, Tea Time Sims, Trinity Temple Assembly of God, Turner, Rogers, Manning and Plyler CPA, Twin Rivers Health and Rehabilitation, and Welch Funeral Home. Inside Badger Football is a production of the Washita Sports Digital Network, the student sports media program housed in the Rogers Department of Communications at Washita Baptist University.